I think the biggest problem that there is reporting right now is that agencies are not aware of the end goal. Marketing managers are not aware of the end goal. There needs to be more of a financial conversation with these people, so we can stop making these reporting calls of vanity metrics.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Building a Better CAC by Commexis, a podcast dedicated to connecting the space between your revenue goals and sales and marketing initiatives. I'm Matthew McGroarty, the social media content producer here at Commexis.
I am Len Ward, the managing partner at Commexis.
Today, we're discussing the importance of understanding your metrics and why good, understandable reporting is important. Len, in your experience, do you think most clients understand their metrics?
No. So I think one of the reasons that, Commexis has pivoted quite a bit to more of an auditing company is that historically companies have been making financial and business decisions on metrics that were being produced from their digital marketing campaigns or even their traditional campaigns, where I feel as if those metrics, it's proven, those metrics are better when you're trying to make a decision on the course of the strategy of the campaign, but not the financial return of the campaign. It's a completely different set of metrics that you need to be looking at when you are trying to arrive at an ROI. So, I think the better answer to that question is I think clients are they're not aware of what the metrics they should be looking for. And quite honestly, it's not on your marketing agency. It's not on your digital agency. Heck, it's not even on your internal marketing team or sales team to come back and say, here's the ROI. If you own a business, if you're the business owner, this falls on the CEO, this falls on the CFO to be able to understand what the metrics are that they should be looking for to arrive at a return on investment. And I know the easy answer, people say, well, did I make more money than I made last year? It's vastly more in depth than that. And unfortunately, because of COVID, things got really complicated really quick. Kind of answer my long-winded answer to your question here, Matt. No, I don't think people are really understanding the metrics that are being put in front of them.
So one thing you've spoken to the team about, Len, in the past is how difficult agency reporting can be for most clients to understand. So what is it about that kind of agency reporting that is so hard for, the typical business owner?
I think the biggest issue that they're facing when it comes to the reporting is business owners don't realize that they silo the efforts of digital marketing and everything else that happens around them, or they silo the efforts of an initiative opposed to anything else that's going around them. So one of our philosophies that we believe, we have the Commexis principles that we thoroughly believe in when it comes to auditing a client. And one of the most important ones of that is conversions happen in an ecosystem, the buyer's journey. And you have to understand that in this day and age where the ground has become flat and that almost everything is digital, it's not, we're moving it digital. No. This is a fully matured market. We are all digital now. And it's only even going to get, even going to start compounding on top of that, where you are as an agency or a marketing manager, you're reporting on metrics, you're reporting on impressions, you're reporting on clicks, you're reporting on goals, or you're reporting on traffic or SEO traffic, and it's siloed. They're just looking at the business owners or powers to be, whoever's cutting the check. Maybe she's looking at you and you're giving her all these metrics, and then she's looking, and then kind of she's leaning in her CFO saying, yeah, this is great, but we haven't had any sales. Or, yeah, this is great, but we have not seen more qualified leads. Or, yeah, this is great, but we haven't seen any more money in the bank account. And I think the biggest problem that there is reporting right now is that agencies are not aware of the end goal. Marketing managers are not aware of the end goal. There needs to be more of a financial conversation with these people, so we can stop making these reporting calls of vanity metrics, which I feel bad. There's a lot of great talented agencies out there and really talented marketing managers who are either getting let go, fired, contract not renewed, because they're being solely judged on metrics that are out of their control. I personally believe that there needs to be a financial conversation on top of the vanity metrics. Now, I don't believe that your digital agency or your marketing manager needs to know all the aspects of your finance, but there needs to be something that you're ultimately weighing this campaign against, whether that's a starting revenue number, and then the campaign starts. And then as the campaign, you want to check it on a quarterly basis. Okay, here's my weight. Here's the number that we started with. Here's the number that I've invested. What's my rate of return? Or if you want to go historically and say, okay, last year we did this, I invested this. Again, the premise of conversions happen in an ecosystem. Let's try to not silo this. then you're getting to the point of a better way to report to clients. Then you're getting to a better way of understanding what's going on. Because once you understand those things, then you can step back as an agency and say, okay, look, maybe they're not getting enough leads. Are they not getting enough leads because the brand isn't strong enough out there? Or they're not getting enough leads because, man, they really have us boosting a lot of stuff on Facebook and boosting a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. And we're doing a lot of content, a lot of video. But the reality of the situation is if they need leads, then we have to start pumping a lot more money towards pay-per-click. Like you have to understand, you have to give the agency a way to pivot and move those dollars to address the funnel deficiencies, which ultimately is going to lead you to your final destination of the revenue that you're looking to obtain for the year and the rate of return. And I think that's why reporting has become very difficult. It's siloed, it's vanity in nature. And I just feel as if that too many times there's not a financial goalpost that's put in front of agency and marketing managers to say, we need to hit this. So if that makes sense, that's kind of my thoughts on reporting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think going into that, a huge part of how we do our audits of a client's financial return is through our roadmap reporting dashboard, which we've designed basically to cover a lot of those issues that you mentioned with typical agency reporting. So Len, can you briefly talk about our roadmap reporting dashboard?
Yeah, so our roadmap reporting dashboard it basically audits your company on a monthly, a quarterly, or yearly basis. Basically focuses on the 5 metrics that really matter the most when it comes to truly identifying a return on investment. So the metrics that matter the most are, what is your goal or what is the current financial number you're at? What do the sales funnels or pipelines look like? What is your close rate? How many leads are coming in the front door? So in other words, it's basically, it's kind of like a 3 to 4 ribbon process. And the first ribbon is give us the goals or give us the starting number. Next to it is what does the current pipeline look like? Underneath that, it's what is my investment in the buyer's journey? Like how much money am I spending on the platforms? Where is my money being allocated on these platforms to address those funnel deficiencies? And is it working? And how you'll know it's working is on our bottom ribbon on how we do this. And basically that gives you your rate of return. It breaks up your customer acquisition cost. We divide that by the current revenue, and then it spits out a rate of return. The rate of return is either what is the lifetime value ratio of your customer, or there's the other metric on which you can do, which is your investment in marketing minus your sales revenue from that marketing divided by marketing. Not a big fan of that metric, so we kind of like the lifetime value ratio. But what this does is it has its own place where it's the conversation that you should be having before you're talking to your agency, or this is the dashboard you should be looking at before you're thinking about making a decision with an agency, or before you're thinking about hiring or firing a marketing manager, or heck, even if you're thinking about acquiring a company or selling your own company. This is the dashboard that will really tell you what your rate of return is on your sales and marketing investment. And it keeps things in a really crisp, simple fashion. It's basically 5 metrics we look at, spread out across about 4 ribbons, which have 4 panels in it each. And it's something you can look at very quickly and really understand your rate of return. And it stays away from rankings and landing pages and bounce rate and all that stuff. That's a conversation you should be having. If you're not hitting your rate of return, you'll step down and you'll take a look at, okay, we're not hitting our rate of return. What do we think the problem is? And the board's going to, basically show you what the problem is. Either number 1, you're not spending enough money. Number 2, your close rate is poor, which is not happening too well. Number 3, your campaign is not directed towards funnel deficiencies. And the most important thing, which it'll arrive at, because if those other 3 things are covered, you're like, no, we're covered. We're pretty good. Our creative's good. Our offer's good, blah, blah, blah. The last thing it's going to come down to is what's your value proposition or purple cow? Because if you don't have that, then it's just basically you versus the next person in price. And at this point, you can ask yourself a question. Either we're going to just basically try to price better than the individual, spend more money in marketing, or it will force your company to step back and say, you know what, we need to be innovative. We need to figure something out. We need to kind of break out into our own space where we can kind of eradicate the competition. That's what this board really does.
Of the clients that have been moved onto our new dashboard, what has been the reception by them? And have they been able to see and sort of work with us to change their marketing plan based on this board?
The number one thing we get from the board right away is they don't really understand all of the costs that go into acquiring a customer. I think that's the first thing that really got them, that kind of blew them away. It was they didn't realize when you signed up for a CRM that goes in your customer acquisition cost. They didn't realize when they were doing that networking event that goes in their customer acquisition cost. I think all of the costs baked in, and then when you look at all the costs baked in, I think when they started realizing how small or light their digital marketing investment was, and how upside down they were in it compared to what's happening now. That was definitely eye-opening. We have definitely seen more companies spend much more money on digital marketing because they realize that, they realize what's going on. They realize that, their impressions are beginning to go down from historically, which was, maybe like they were a strong SEO play, or maybe like a strong social, media play where now everything's almost pay for play, that they're now allocating more dollars over there. They're really looking at their funnels in a much more, stringent fashion. They're really identifying what's right, what's wrong. They're holding their salespeople accountable. They're realizing that they have to build their brand up a little more, because if you're going to live in the lead part of the funnel, it's going to cost you a lot of money because you're sitting there on pay-per-click. So I think that for the first time ever, they're realizing the complexity of digital marketing, but more importantly, they're realizing the complexity of the buyer's journey and how much money has to be invested in there. And that it's funny because as these clients are growing with the board and they're understanding the board, it's now a financial conversation. That's what we've moved much more into a financial conversation, and a rate of return and the vanity metrics, while very important, I cannot emphasize that enough, but you shouldn't be making financial decisions based upon vanity metrics. So that's the initial things we're seeing with the board. And I guess we have a couple of clients in the board for about a year now, some a little less, so that's kind of where we are with the board right now.
Excellent. And if you, listener, are interested in hearing more about our reporting dashboard and what it's all about, you can go on our website, Commexis.com. We have a page dedicated to explaining what it is, why it exists, what it hopes to do, things like that. So you can definitely check it out, get a nice little sample of what it looks like, and kind of see what it is that we're talking about here. That's all for today's episode of Building a Better CAC. Check us out on Commexis.com, YouTube, and anywhere you can get your podcasts, and follow us on Twitter @Commexis. Thanks for listening.